We are live, Chris. I don't know what just happened there for a second, but here we are. Eh, Welcome to the podcast, bro. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh man, listen, the honor is absolutely all mine. I hope your 4th of July was proper mega.
Yeah, we do this event every year with the Sovereign races at Pacific Raceways up here in Seattle, which is the historic car races, and it's always a good time.
I love it. Good stuff. And that's where you are now, right?
No, I'm actually at the Ridge today. We're out here with some clients and doing some testing. It's just a regular track day. So
Having fun.
yeah, I am not, despite what you it looks like, I am not being human trafficked right now. So
I was getting ready to ask that. I'm like, what's up with the van, man? Good stuff, bro. Good stuff, Chris. Well, listen, we got a lot to talk about, not a whole lot of time today, so let's just jump right into it. Where did your
let's do
journey
it.
start on two wheels?
I mean, bicycles when I was a kid. I was one of those free range 80s kids, and I just bicycled everywhere. And then the next natural step there is hopping on a motorcycle. So my first bike, I went straight to road bikes. I skipped dirt bikes. I kind of grew up in a city. So, um, my first bike was a 89 FCR 600. And it's been, it's that's where it started.
what a, what a beautiful motorcycle that was, right? The
Yeah.
FCR 600. People
Yeah.
nowadays, they're like, "What's a carburetor?"
Right.
You're like,
It's
"What?"
this terrible thing that you have to work on constantly. But
Oh my god! But once you got it right, it was one of the most beautiful things ever.
yeah, so good. I miss that bike. I get nostalgic for the old bikes, and I wonder, if we were to own them again or have them in the fleet at the shop or whatever, like, is the memory better than they actually were?
I mean, there's only one way to find out, Chris. Let's make it happen. Let's go look for the FCR 600 and figure it
Right.
out, right?
And all my free time.
Right. That's the issue. I'm like you. I'm super busy all
Yeah.
the time, but that's
Yeah.
life, man. I'd rather be busy than not busy. So
Exactly.
yeah. So getting your first bike. How did that transition into doing track days or any type of club racing or?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually came up in cars. So when I was a kid, we had motorcycle. I had a motorcycle, but it was more like it wasn't something we took terribly seriously. Like we went fast in cars, and back in the late '90s, I worked in rally and was constantly at the track with car stuff, and helped out at a buddy's shop who had a dyno, and got into it that way. Um, and then honestly, it wasn't until I met Sarah, my wife and the co-owner of the team, that she was really serious about bikes and was instructing with the track day org at the time. And so she kind of like took my passion for motorsports and like honed it in on the motorcycle side of things. So and then yeah, on staff with track days, some club racing, and then I was at a point in my life where I realized that I was a little too old to be a competitive rider. So uh, I'm a super competitive person. So then you start looking around and you're like, well, how do we go fast? And it's like, well, we got to start putting fast people on the bikes. So um, that's kind of where it started.
I love it. And then going from club racing to racer to hey, let's just start a team and get riders on it. Tell me the process of your first adventure as a team owner, and how did you select the rider at the time, and has that changed at all?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. Rider selection is something that we spend a lot of time thinking about and talking about, and we have some criteria that we look for. But initially, we just looked around at who we knew and who didn't have a ride. So at the time, we were doing a lot of stuff with YCRS, the Champ School guys, um, and we had decided we were going to build a Twins Cup bike, um, and we just kind of like went through the fast guys that we knew, and we knew that Michael Haynow didn't have a ride, and um, it was fast enough to be in the AMA paddock, so in the Moto America paddock. So we reached out to them, and it kind of started with just, hey, let's just do a couple of rounds. We'll do the West Coast rounds. And then you're like, oh, well, we built the bike and we got the shirts. We might as well do a whole season, because that's just makes sense, right?
Facts.
So that was really where it started. And now when we look for riders, we look for specific riding experience and riders that have worked with teams before, and really riders who probably wouldn't be in our paddock otherwise. Like we do a lot of sponsorship of riders. Riders bring some money to the table, but we're not selling seats. Like, the team works really hard on the sponsorship side of things, and the race shop, we work really hard at the shop to generate the money to go and do this. So yeah, we look for kind of underrepresented talent and people who should be here who may not be otherwise.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, very much so. Um, and based on the criteria when you first started out, did you kind of like reach out in the industry and get kind of feel of how others did it, or was it something you guys just kind of based off maybe off the call world, maybe, or
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So before I started doing motorcycles full time, I'd gone from a full time automotive mechanic and race mechanic to I took like a 15-year detour and was a chef. And so I had a lot of kind of human management experience, and a lot of the criteria that I look for in employees in kitchens and in restaurants carries over to what we look for in riders. Obviously we look for pedigree, and where they've raced and what they've raced, but then we also just look for work ethic and their qualities off the bike. Are they somebody that we can work with versus working for? Is really to us. We have a very collaborative environment on our team, and the rider is obviously a huge collaboration. So
I love it. I love it. And obviously, we're sitting here in CW. Real quick, how did you come up with the name CW Moto?
CW is actually Counterweight. The name of our shop is Counterweight Motorsport. And before I opened my shop, I went and worked. So when I left restaurants, I got a job at a local dealership, and I worked in a couple of shops here in town. And I kind of was really looking around at the environment and the community, and realizing that customers and riders weren't really being that well taken care of, if I'm just being candid. So, I started thinking about like how to represent like our primary focus with our business, with the race team, is that everybody on the team and all of my clients get what they need. It's kind of the most important part of the equation when we ride the motorcycle. And when a human rides motor, they're actually the counterweight to the gyroscopic forces of the bike. So that's where counterweight came from. It's the human centric approach.
I love it. Great story, man. That's awesome. Everybody's got a little background on how they come up with their stuff. That's cool, man. I like it. It's original
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Very original. Yep, the logo and all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And
go ahead.
but counterweight is incredibly long to put on the side of a bike, so we abbreviated it to CW Moto.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, what the counterweights spelt on the older bikes?
Yeah, we used to actually write it out on our old liveries, and every once in a while we have some like wind stickers we still do and stuff like that. But and so we're working on the brand a little bit, where Counterweight Motorsport is the race shop and CW Moto Racing is the race team.
I love it. I
So
love it.
yeah,
So this is your second, third, first year in Moto America, if I
this is actually our fourth season in Moto America. Our first season was in 2021. So
Okay. Your first season in Moto America, was it a shock coming into Moto America with the scheduling and all that stuff, or were you guys pretty much prepared from the call room?
uh, I mean, yes and no. Like you're never prepared. I had a chef tell me once when he offered me my first sous chef position, and he was like, "Hey, I was the next guy in line, and the sous chef flamed out, and he goes, "All right, kid, you're up."
Oh, he froze up.
How big the country is and how far apart all the races are. Um, the first year we actually did it out of the van. Like we put the whole program in the van, and I did all the driving, and it was an endeavor.
To say the least, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of windshield time. I enjoy it though. It's a nice reprieve. It's kind of some of the only time I really get to kind of throttle down.
A lot of
But
audiobook time.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, the biggest thing that surprised us, and I know it shouldn't, is just the time crunch on the weekend. Like there's always something going on, and you're always supposed to be somewhere. And then just I wasn't naive to how competitive and fast everybody is, but it's very different when you grit up and you see it for the first time, you know. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I love about this sport is it's 100% objective. So we measure and quantify everything, so we can say like are we getting better? Well, let's look at the facts. Like, is the bike going faster around the track? Are we doing wheel changes faster? Is it easier to load and unload the truck? Like, all of that stuff is quantifiable and objective, and I love that, and it's a really happy place for me. And but
Sorry, you froze up there.
oh, whoops, yeah, basically just the Moto America paddock was really really competitive, and we knew it was going to be, but when you're in it, it 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 was initially surprising just how competitive it
Oh,
is.
oh yeah. It's always a different story when you show up to the big game and you start to play. You're like, uh-oh. All right. I dove straight in with the
did,
Sharks. Let's go, right?
did, did we make a mistake?
Right. Sitting back the first night, yeah, having a sip of something. You're like, did we fuck up somewhere along the line here? Like, oh man, I love it. I love it. And then, fast forward to 2025 and you got the young, talented, absolute legend, Luca Allen, all the way from BSB, had several years on the GP2 machine, which those that don't know,
Yeah,
GP2 machine is basically a Moto 2 motorcycle with the super stiff chassis, custom, and all that good stuff. Um,
yeah,
now he's over here with CW Moto and Chris at Moto America, which is a lot of Europeans' dreams to come over here and race in Moto America. So, how did the whole Luca Allen thing come together, and how did you guys come to choose him?
yeah. It was actually uh, so we took 2024 off, and I worked with the Build Train Race program, which was awesome. It's such an amazing program, and it was so great to work with those guys. But I knew that we wanted to get back out here under our own banner and kind of run our own program again. And so about the middle of last season, we started talking to some riders, talking to some managers, and we actually I was talking to Michael Hill at the end of the day at one of the race rounds, and he was like, I got this kid I think you should meet. Like, and he's like, I'm going to be perfectly honest. We're bringing him to Mid Ohio. He's going to meet with a bunch of teams, but let's go grab dinner and just chat. So he sent me his press packet, so like we knew who he was. I did some research on his results and how competitive he was in BSB, and then we met the kid. We went and had dinner, um, and he's a good dude. I mean, like like regardless of whether he was riding for us or not, like I'd be happy to have him on the team.
Yeah.
He's a genuinely a good person, and he's working really hard, and we're stoked to have him on the team.
Oh, 100%. I met Luca Allen when I went to Cadwell Park in BSB. I didn't physically meet him there. I was looking for him,
Hmm.
but never had an opportunity. Obviously, reached out to him. Was like, "Hey, I want to get you on my podcast. Let's go." And then ever since then, it's like we stayed in touch on WhatsApp all the time. We're messing each other, and he's like, "Hey, I'm coming to Mid Ohio." I was like, "Shut up, I'll be there, bro. This is gonna be awesome, right?" So I finally got to meet him there at Mid Ohio, and yeah, I took him
I think
around,
he drove.
introduced him to some
Yeah,
people, and yeah, Luke is absolutely amazing for sure. So
yeah,
super fast, super talented.
and he's fast, right? Like he was competing in the GP2 class, which is no longer there, and that just was a super competitive class. And he was out there putting it on the box regularly on a Calex with the old Honda power plant. So he was down 20 horsepower to the other bikes and still podiuming regularly, which just really speaks to the quality of his riding.
100%, and then yeah, coming over here to America and first time here, sitting all tracks are new, teams new, bikes new, all that,
Tires,
yeah, the whole
Pirelli to
nine,
Dunlop,
right? Your
everything.
suspension, everything, the whole nine, right? And
Yep.
in my personal opinion, I'm not saying this because I love Luca to death and he's a good mate of mine, but he's done, in my opinion, a phenomenal job coming here, wrapping his mind around everything because that's a lot to take in, especially when you're across the pond, away from your
Hmm.
family and your friends, and you're here in your new home, right, with new family and friends that you got to get acquainted with, and taking all that into consideration, man, he's been absolute. And his writing style is just phenomenal.
Yeah, we're yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Like he's really taking it all in stride. He's having some health issues this season that we're getting taken care of. He's actually going in for arm pump surgery on Monday, and like I can't wait for that to be resolved and for us to get him on the bike in Virginia and just have him rip. Like I'm really excited about it.
Oh, me too, man. Me too. And then your little stint at BTR. Everybody knows I'm a huge fan of the Build Train Race program, or Royal Enfield, and all the
Yeah.
ladies they have on there. It's absolutely phenomenal. How did that little venture? How did you get into the BTR program? How'd that happen?
Oop, you cut out there right at the
Oh,
end with the
I-
the question part of it.
oh,
I caught the first part.
how did you end up at working at BTR for a year?
So Scott Ryberick, who kind of runs the day in and day out of the program, is a great friend of ours. For an answer, there were many phone calls, and then it was great. I mean, honestly, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in the paddock. It's such a good program. The riders are amazing. The crew is amazing. I mean, Freddie Spencer, come on, you know,
Right, right.
like
The legend? You
um,
kidding me?
you know, Butch Bolin, who's Freddie's childhood friend who used to drive the RV when he was racing in MotoGP in Europe is a part of the program. Freddie's wife Alex is amazing. The team from Royal Enfield's awesome. I mean, it's just an amazing program. And what what that team gets to do and what those riders get to do is just incredible. You know, the racecraft and the discipline, and you know, I don't think I wish that this existed for all young racers who wanted to come and race professionally. And a lot of the riders in the BTR, you know, are phenomenal riders, but it's also a gateway into professional motorsports. So, you know, you look at all of the riders that have graduated from that program and now have jobs in the paddock, and you know, from the alum like Chloe Madrill's doing PR and media for Orange Cat, and Crystal Martinez is working in the medical facilities at Moto America, and you know, that's great to the fast riders who are still riding. You know, Michaela is still out there racing. To, you know, Miranda Kane actually came on board and is our director of racing operations for our team. You know, she keeps this all from spinning off the planet. Like, we couldn't do it without her.
So she's double duty, BTR and working with you guys.
Promise if I didn't mention Emma. She's actually a mechanic for the Build Train Race program this year. It's just, it's so awesome. Like, I love that program so much, and the racing's great. Everybody's riding out of their minds. It's been some of the most exciting bike to bike racing there's been this season has happened during the BTR races.
110%. I didn't mean to interrupt you. If I did, you actually froze up there for a second, so I couldn't
Oh,
hear
it's okay.
what you were saying. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm sure you learned a lot during that year too.
Yeah, working with a team like that, you know, it was a good experience for me, and a learning experience, to go from dealing with one rider to I was directly responsible for working with 4 riders, and then, you know, when anything went wrong, we all jumped in and helped. So, you know, it's like having a team with 12 or 13 riders last year was an amazing challenge, and it really helped me kind of learn a lot of discipline, and to just be efficient, and be efficient in communication, and then subsequently efficient in your action. So yeah, it was great. It was great. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I love it, man. I love it. What a journey. Well, what a journey, Chris, you've had so far in life and in this motorsport, and what you're doing for it's absolutely amazing. And I said this before we went live. Your approach, the way you think, your mentality is just it's super unique, and I love it. And we actually need more people like you in the paddock. For sure,
Thank
to
you.
be a better place, 110%. So, my friend,
We
you are
what
the proper
you
man.
guys need more weirdos like
Hey, we're all weirdos. What are you talking about, man? Look, we're all a little bit something right here is not right, right? Let's just be honest. So,
we look at this and go, oh yeah, this seems totally normal.
this is awesome. Let's go, right? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. What's normal not to you people is normal to some other people, right? So
Right.
love it and embrace it. That's all I can do. Yeah, and and then just so for everybody listening that don't know about CW Moto and who's all on the team, tell everybody, who all the team members are and what their roles that they play.
um,
Are you
are
there?
you back?
Yeah. Are you
There you
there?
are.
All right. Sorry, you cut out again. My
No,
question,
no.
my question was, for those that don't know, tell everybody who is on CW Moto, what their names is, and what their roles play.
Yeah, it's funny. I think of CW Moto as a collective. You know, like we're all uh, we're all carnies and pirates from walks of life. So we have a big, huge, crazy team, and it's awesome. On the immediate road crew, this season we've got Quentin Wilson as our lead chassis mechanic. He's old school. We've known him for years, and I mean, that guy is just a rock. You know, he's been in the paddock for a long time, and is great. We've also got Liam McDonald. He's our other chassis mechanic, and he's great. We've got Celine, who's my business partner at the shop, and she helps us do all the 3D printing and parts design back at the shop. And she's been getting on the road a little more. Obviously, Miranda comes to the rounds that she's not racing. That's Miranda Kane. That she's not racing for the BTR. She comes out to the races and helps support the team, and she's handy with a wrench. She's great with people. I mean, she's just a rock star. Our fearless leader, Sarah, my wife, the team principal. I mean, you know, she does so much for the team, and it just has such a great strategic brain and is one step ahead of us always. So she does a ton. That's our immediate crew. And then, you know, we've got probably 20 or 30 other people who just kind of cycle in and out and lend their special talents. And, you know, everything from sponsors and patrons who just have kind of gotten absorbed into the team over the years. You know, it starts with, you know, hey, let me pick up the tire bill this weekend, or, you know, here's a little money for gas to get you to the next race round. And now they're like coming out and hanging out with us at the track and are in team shirts. And, you know, it was pretty remarkable this year. You know, last weekend was the Ridge purchased and gave probably 60 passes to the races that weekend. You know, it's just it's one big goofy carnival, and it's pretty cool to be a part of.
I call it the beautiful circus, where we're the only circus in town.
Yeah, right.
Right? Yeah.
It really is. It really is. I'd be remiss. You know, Jason Uribe helps us out mentoring our riders. Luca, you know, we've had a lot of great success racing down at Chuckwalla with Jay, and he's got that awesome deal with Orange Cat. We're big fans. You know, Andrew Lee, Mallory Dobbs. I mean, there's just so many people that are a part of this that I just, you know, it's a great team.
It's legendary, is what it is. Absolutely legendary. Yeah, man. Well, listen, this has been a lot of fun. We're approaching 30 minutes into this. We got so much more to talk about. We just don't have the time today to do it. So let's get into the second part of the podcast, where we get to know you away from the track and away from everything. Just stay on with me after we do in this. Just stay on with me real quick for like a minute, and then and then we'll leave. Tell us something we don't know about you at all, Chris.
Something you guys don't know about me at all. I'm a pretty good juggler.
I can juggle too. I'm with it, dude. I'm with it.
I mean, playing into the whole circus theme, right? Like, yeah, I can juggle, and I'm pretty handy with a yo-yo. I do some yo-yo tricks.
Yo-yo not so much, but I growing up, I did a unicycle and juggled just because it was cool, right? I'd get on there, and then my buddy would take one ball out and throw another ball in, and I'd be doing my thing. Now I'd probably break my arm because I ain't did it in so long. But juggling, I still do unicycle.
Yeah.
To get back on it. So that's awesome. Are you a coffee drinker?
I am. I live on it. I mean, I feel like most crew chiefs and race teams are run on coffee. So
coffee and Red Bull.
Yeah, straight. Yeah, like a steady stream of black coffee keeps the wheels going. You know.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Ooh. Oh man, I think it would have to be invisibility.
That would be cool. I would do teleportation.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah,
I'd be like, Chris, I'm gonna come meet you in the van. Boom, there it is. Like I'm there right now. Right, let's do the podcast live in the van. Thank you, Elon.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God. You mentioned earlier being a chef. I love to cook. I get it from my mom growing up. My mom always, I grew up in the Navy, so my dad was gone. So my mom home cooked meals most of the time. And since moving out and getting my own house and my own family, I cook a lot. I do most of the cooking, and I like to make everything from scratch. But my question to you is spicy foods. Are you a spicy food guy?
Oh, hell yeah. So, I actually grew up not not too far away. I grew up right outside of Washington D.C. in Maryland, and my family used to grow jalapenos in the garden, and like Hungarian peppers. We'd grow our own paprika, and yeah, I love spicy food. Can't be too spicy. I was a chef. I was a sous chef in a Mexican restaurant for a couple of years, and so they're like just working with the habaneros and all the different dried chilies and
Can you hear me?
I can now.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you broke up again.
Ugh.
If you could sit down and have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
Like any? I mean, that's.
I know it's a
I
broad
mean,
question.
how do you? Yeah. How do you pick? Um. Uh. I don't know. Like, I'm a big science nerd, so I think about some of the great scientists and mathematicians. So, Turing. I mean, that would be pretty cool. The guy invented modern computing. Um, you know, yeah, I don't know. That one's a wild one. There's so many great chefs. Like, like what would it be like to sit down and have a meal with, Paul Bocuse or, um, James Beard or, yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Yes.
yeah.
Speaking to that, Anthony Bourdain, he's got a couple books out. I listened to two of his
hmm
audio books, and they were really good. I always like
hmm
his show too. Speaking of audio books, is that something you do too as well, or do you read or?
Yeah, I'm an avid reader, and I do listen to some audiobooks when I'm on the road, mostly just because it, you know, eats up a bunch of time. I actually met Tony Bourdain a couple of times. He's a fantastic human being. Like, I don't think, I don't think I'd be here doing this without a guy like that out there doing what he did. So,
Yeah, 100%. I'm actually
yeah,
listening to a book called "Change Your Mind, Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind," or the other way
yeah,
around. Yeah, it's a good book, man. I'm a big audiobook guy. The only time I physically read any book is my shop manual for motorcycles. Other than that, yeah, because it puts me to sleep, man. I mean, yeah, it's a good way for me to go to sleep for sure. Do you have any tattoos?
I have a lot of tattoos.
Yeah, me too. Right, I love it, dude. I'm due for some more for sure.
Big shout out. You got to come out here and see my guy in Seattle. He works at one of the oldest tattoo parlors, continuously operated tattoo parlors in the city of Seattle. Like it's a great shop. They have a little museum. He's old school.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Yeah, I'll plan a trip, come out there, hang out, and get me all tatted up. I'm with it,
We'll
dude.
go get some tattoos.
That's it. We'll go get some tattoos. I love it, man. I love it. Um, are you guys been watching anything on TV that you can recommend to people?
Uh, no, there's not really any time.
I love it. He's like,
like,
no, absolutely not.
like small business owner. I struggle to keep up with the racing. Even I love all forms of racing, and I'll put it on the weekends when I'm working in the shop. Um, but just trying to keep up with MotoGP, World Superbike, what the other Moto America classes are doing. It's a lot to keep up with.
It's 110% it is. If you could travel back to any era of time, what time would you travel back to?
Oh man, honestly, for purely selfish reasons, I would love to go back to the late 60s, early 70s, specifically working in motorsports. Like that was such a innovative time, and there were so many people that were just doing like really creative and inventive things. Like, like we're at a stage now technologically where the field is pretty much set and we're just operating within a pretty well defined um, set of parameters. And back in the 60s and 70s, like late 60s, early 70s, especially, like, I mean, you had people like developing aerodynamics, like turbocharging was just kind of starting to take off, like suspension. I mean, and there was just so much innovation happening, and it was happening so fast that, yeah, just I love it. You know, all those guys, so many, Colin Chapman, Bruce McLaren, Carroll Shelby, specifically on the car side, and even on the bike side. Like the GP bikes that were coming out back then, the Hondas, the Ducatis, the MV Agustas. I mean, it was wild times.
It was a great era of time for sure. Would you ever consider going out there and doing the Isle of Man TT with the team, taking your team over there and doing something like that?
Yeah. So I actually went to the TT in 2018 with Sarah for my honeymoon.
Jealous.
For our honeymoon.
All right, I gotta end this now. I'm
And
so jealous. Bye, people. No, I'm just joking.
and
Honeymoon.
yeah, it was great. It was great. And I love it. It's so different from circuit racing, and even the design spec and the build spec of the bikes, and the riding's totally different. It's a different sport, and I love challenges. And there's so much luck. We back?
Yeah, I can see you now.
Okay. Yeah. So someday maybe, but I'd love to do it.
Yeah, man. TT's my favorite race. 100 to me
Yeah. The
personally.
Southern 100s this weekend
Oh, I
in
know.
Castleton
Yep,
on the Isle of Man. Yeah.
I got a Southern 100 hat, man. It's Northwest 200. All of them, they're all absolutely freaking proper mega, right? That's real racing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, me personally, it goes the Isle of Man TT, then British Superbikes, and then everything underneath that's pretty much on equal terms as far as Moto America, ASBK, and everything else. British Superbikes to me is just a standout solely because they race superbikes with no electronics on them. There's no traction control, no
Yeah.
tie wheelie. It's old school, proper way of racing the modern 240 horsepower bikes, which is like it takes a, I don't want to say a real man to be able to do that, but it's a different ball game.
Yep. And honestly, on what could only be described as go-kart tracks compared to some of the tracks we have over here. I mean, they're so and just how different they are. It's almost hard to compare. Like now that Moto America's rules are more in line with the FIM's, like there's a little more apples to apples. But when you look at the rule set for, BSB, Moto America, what they can do when they race on the roads, it's so hard to compare. Everybody's working really hard. At the top flight, everybody's so fast. But you really can't draw a straight line from one to the other.
I couldn't have said it better myself, my friend. Well, listen, Chris, this has been a lot of fun, man. I appreciate it. It's been an honor
Yeah.
to sit down with you on this first podcast, which we'll do many, many more together with CW Moto. And if you guys ended up jumping in halfway, we got comments. I just didn't bring none of them up. because we didn't have a whole lot of time, and that would take away our time and our story. So this episode will be
A
out everywhere
privilege to be a part of
tomorrow
it.
and all
Thank
that
you.
good stuff. Listen, it's an absolute honor to have you on, my friend. I can't wait to sit back down for part two. I just want to say thank you for everybody who watches the podcast. If you have not yet, please go to all the formats and hit the ding dings, the bells, and all that good stuff. That helps me out a lot. Thank you guys so much for listening. Chris, tell everybody where they can find you. Come to listen. At matter of fact, you guys will be at, is it Mid Ohio next?
No, we'll actually be at Laguna
Oh
next
yeah, that's right.
weekend.
Laguna.
And then it's Virginia after that. We also race in the Pacific Northwest with WMRA, the Washington Motorcycle Road Racing Association, and OMRA, the Oregon Motorcycle Road Racing Association. Or you'll find us at the shop in SeaTac, Washington, just at the south end of the airport. So
I love it. I love it. And listen, when you guys go to Laguna Seca, please stop by, see W Moda, say hi, get some pictures and autographs and stickers. And are you gonna have merch there for sale?
probably not too much merch, but Luca will be out there signing autographs and posters and stuff. So make sure you stop by and give him a hard time.
Absolutely got to give Luke a hard time, and you guys will get to meet the legend Luca Allen for sure. And Chris will be there, and then his beautiful wife will be there, and the whole team. So make sure you stop by, say hi, and yeah, Chris, listen, this has been a lot of fun, bro. I appreciate it. It's been an absolute honor. I think I lost him again. We're gonna have to give Elon Musk a bad review on his Starlink.
Dude, I'm so sorry.
Dude, you're
Like I
good,
do
bro.
conference calls from this thing all the time.
You're good, bro. I don't know what it meant. Maybe you know what I think it is because I stream on different I'd stream on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn at the same
Oh,
time. So it's probably part of the reason. I think if I did it just
yeah.
on the channel, it would probably be better. But yeah, man. Listen, hang on. Let me stop this. Just hang on for me for 1 second.
Okay.